Just coming in right now. Celtics trade Jaylen Brown. Shams bomb right as we start the stream. To the Sixers.
Yeah, do you know what?
Yeah.
Like I kid you not. You press the stream and or you press live and we literally both got the notification.
Yeah. That is insane. All right. I guess we have to do NBA right now since we're talking about it. Let me just pull it up on X at the moment.
That's
trade.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Okay, let's see that.
Yeah, let's look at this right here. That's sharing the wrong screen now. Move. Yeah, this is crazy right here. Blockbuster trade. Boston Celtics have agreed to trade Jaylen Brown to the 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. I think this is a major steal for Philly. The fact that they didn't include VJ or Maxey is insane. And they literally get off a bad Paul George contract. I think he probably had 2 years remaining.
Yeah, I'm shocked right now.
Yeah, that.
I mean, but once again,
it
hasn't proven right on these last 2 picks, World Cup and Wimbledon. But
that is so shocking. Like,
I told you that he was on the block.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't
2 more years. I mean, one of the years is a player option, but let's be honest.
Yeah, he'll opt in on that. That is crazy stuff. I don't know what to say. The fact that this was probably their best offer, because think about it, it's the Celtics. You want to do a trade with Philly. That's probably one of the last places you want to do a trade with. And the fact that they for 2, granted, first-round picks, but still 2 first-round picks. We don't know when they are. I assume they're going to be in the 2030s. 2 second-round picks. Those are pretty much worthless, honestly. Just like some fluff to put in. But the fact they traded for Paul George, and Paul George, he had a pretty good season this year. Let's be honest. When he wasn't freaking doping and out for 20 games, but. That's it? I'm shocked that that was supposedly their best offer. I am shocked.
Yeah, I mean, we literally were talking about it yesterday, or late last night, just about Jaylen Brown, and you were saying, oh, I don't think they trade him right now. And I'm like, Shams and all these reports are saying they're actively shopping them. I think there was another notification this morning talking about like multiple teams being engaged in a trade for him, and we kind of went through the list of teams where said the Celtics are really interested in the wings from New Orleans, but it's just like why would the New Orleans Pelicans want Jaylen Brown? Like, they're in no position to win. So we rattled off teams, and we talked about Philly, but we said we don't think they're going to trade Maxey or Edgecombe. And turns out they didn't have to.
That is why. All right, here are the picks. You have 2028. Oh, wow. 2028 first round pick. Yeah, dude. Like, I was thinking these might be into the future. I can't remember what's the limit on like how far into the future you can trade picks, but I don't see the Sixers being like terrible, like especially with this trade.
Yeah, I guess they lost Danny Ainge and they forgot how to fleece teams, or they're just paying it back for the Markel Fultz trade. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, this is shocking. This is a terrible trade for Boston. I mean, I could eat my words. They somehow win a championship this year, but they literally just made the East better.
Yeah, Phillies.
The Philly beat the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't beat them, join them, right?
he did his best Kevin Durant impersonation.
Oh my gosh, bro. That is wild. Yeah, I have zero words for this. This is insane.
Like, Philly's probably the second best team in the East.
You think this makes them the second best team?
Name me a better team. I mean, we're gonna put the Knicks number one, right? Just because they're defending champs.
Yeah, I would put Knicks number one. That's true because Celtics, I would say, were number two, but that's a tough one, dude. They might be low key.
You have a starting lineup of Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, whoever at the 4, and Joel Embiid at the 5. It's contingent on Joel Embiid being healthy, and that's
yeah. But even then, like, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe before the trade deadline, if they're just like, if we can unload Joel, you probably don't, because I don't think anyone would want to trade for him. So you just kind of like keep him until his contract runs out, or he's an expiring contract or something.
Yeah,
wild.
That's quite a blockbuster.
Well,
but there are just talks about what was his actual value, and I guess this proved what his value was, and proved, I guess, how toxic the relationship was, that they couldn't bring him back. Because I don't see why you do this trade. Like, you don't relieve yourself of salary. Like, he's on the books for 2 more years and makes about the same money as Jaylen Brown. That's why you're able to do it.
Yeah, I have no words for this. This is Well, it sucks to be a Boston fan. The Red Sox suck. You got beat by Philly in the playoffs, and they trade JB to the Sixers, the team that just beat you, and the Knicks won the championship. Oof. Tough day. Well, that starts off. This free agency has actually been crazy. Like, it's one of definitely the more fireworks intensive free agency for the past.
I mean, I would argue it's not. It's been more so the trades, like free agency.
True. When I mean free agency, I mean like
off season.
The off season. Yeah, that's a better way to put it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just proving that this second apron is serious, and teams, second apron, and also just the parity we've seen in the league the last 8 years. 8 years, 8 different champions. So just like, if you can go out and try to make a run, go for it, because history for the last 8 years has proven that there's going to be no repeat champions. So if you think you're close, the dominoes might fall your way.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, dude. Interesting. Let's go ahead and hop into the other free agencies or trades, notable trades. We have LaMelo Ball being the first kind of major trade to happen. And I wanted to pull up both teams' depth charts. But sorry, I don't know what's clicking. All right, yeah. So LaMelo Ball gets traded from the Hornets. Here, I'll just go ahead and share my screen. LaMelo Ball traded to the Hornets, as well as Josh Green, who's an interesting piece. Not gonna lie, I mean, I know him because he was drafted by the Mavs, but him and LaMelo get traded to Minnesota, and then the Hornets get Naz Reid, that 2033 unprotected first round pick, 3 first round pick swaps, and 3 second round picks. And yeah, they get another star, if you would even call LaMelo Ball a star per se, teaming up with Ant Edwards. They also get a point guard, which you could argue, I don't even know if like LaMelo is really a point guard either. He's just kind of a shooting guard and playing the point guard position. And Naz Reid, maybe his contract wasn't super favorable, but former 6th man of the year, honestly probably should have won it again this past year instead of Keldon Johnson, but he gets shipped off to Charlotte, and Charlotte's making a bunch of moves because they also traded Miles Bridges as well for some vets. But we'll get into that one next. What are your initial thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, I think we were both in agreement that it was kind of a wacky trade for the Timberwolves. And I mean, like Hornets, you kind of wonder why, but then as you think more outside of the general scope of it, it makes sense for the Hornets. Like, yeah, you did have one of your best seasons in 5-10 years, almost made the playoffs, lost in the play-in game to the Orlando Tragic. We won't revisit that though. I think it dropped out.
No, you're still here.
No, like the screen that shows the.
Oh, you want it back?
Yeah. Yeah. The Hornets had a good offseason, but LaMelo Ball, there's questions about whether or not he is a winning player, and just he can't even really stay on the court. I think he averaged like 32 minutes a game, or maybe even less. I'd have to fact check that. But I just heard that, the Charlotte Hornets were kind of treating him like, a race car, just like babying him throughout the whole season, not playing him a ton of minutes. So you try to play, you have questions about who is on a huge contract, and you get back, this huge stretch 5, which is highly coveted in the league, Naz Reid, a first-round pick and some swaps. And the second-round picks can be valuable, especially when you just cluster 5 of them in a trade, because the NBA is just getting deeper year by year, and you find a lot of gems in the second round, or at least rotational players.
Yeah, I definitely think Charlotte won this trade. LaMelo has a lot of question marks, and I mean, he's been in the league, like 7 years, and they're still kind of debating. It's like, oh, like how, like, is he is he going to be a star, or he was an all-star this past year, right? Or was he not? I don't think so, actually.
Probably in the East, I think he was an all-star, but I'm not exactly sure. All-star game's kind of a popularity contest.
Yeah, but still, like, yeah, it's like he's like, what, 7 years? And granted, he's still probably young. He's probably like 25 or something. But yeah, I think this is a big swing for Minnesota. Ultimately, I think it's probably going to be a big miss as well. And now they're just going to be stuck with LaMelo Ball and less assets. And yeah, I guess, I don't know. I think Naz Reid is a really good player. Like, it's tough to pay him the kind of money you're paying him as like a backup. So I can kind of see why, but for LaMelo, I think there's better options out there. This was kind of an desperation move for Minnesota, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Timberwolves, they lacked a point guard probably the whole Anthony Edwards experience. Like, the closest one was like a, old Mike Conley, and that was kind of just a serviceable point guard. They've talked about, Anthony Edwards getting double teamed late in games or in playoff games, and not really having somebody who could, be a threat on the offensive end, and just, make the defense accountable to not double team him consistently. And LaMelo Ball is like a offensive engine just by himself. So I think it's going to be successful from that standpoint. it just LaMelo Ball, for as young as he is, he's been, like you said, he's been in the league a long time and has never made the playoffs. And the playoffs are definitely a different animal in terms of just intensity and physicality. There's just questions about whether or not he'd be able to hold up, health-wise or just mentally.
Yeah, so definitely, like I said, I agree with you. I think somewhat of a desperation move for Minnesota. All right, going to Miles Bridges. Charlotte was making deals. And I like both of them, in my opinion. As I pull up the details of the Miles Bridges trade. Let me see if there's another better graphic. Okay, here's a better graphic. You have no, it's not that. I guess we'll just do the Shams one. But Hornets trading Miles Bridges and a 2029 first round pick and 2029 second round pick, but it's essentially a pick swap because the Phoenix Suns are sending Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and a 2033 first round pick back to Charlotte for Miles Bridges and that 2027 first round pick. So essentially a first round pick swap. Yeah, and they have to add an additional second. But I like the move for Charlotte just because you get veteran presence. Like Miles Bridges, he's always that guy who's like, he's a solid player, but he's one of those, what do they say about him? He's like, oh, he's a young, like up and coming, like potential star or whatever. And it's like, how long? Like he's been saying that for the past like 5 or 6 years. And he's like a good player. He might kind of have his off the court issues a little bit, but you get a proven veterans in Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. Like both Spencer and I, we watched the Jazz a lot because we had tickets, and Royce O'Neal was a big part of their squad that they ran that like won the West as in the regular season several years. And Grayson Allen, you got to love Grayson Allen. He's a guy who can shoot 40% from three. He can defend, and he can somewhat like take it off the dribble a little bit. He's getting a little bit older, but he gets that veteran presence. He can come off the bench. He can start for you. I really like this pickup for Charlotte, and it shows that Charlotte's really making a push. They kind of saw what they could do with Concanipple, retooled our roster a little bit, and I mean the East is just getting more and more brutal, to be honest. But yeah, I could see them in the play-in again and possibly make the playoffs.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of somewhat resetting their window to kind of peak in terms of just peak in terms of timing of all the players with the contracts and just being able to compete because, like I said, the second apron is just very penalizing. So they have 2 young players in Brandon Miller and Concanipple. Concanipple just coming off of his rookie season, and I think Brandon Miller 2 or 3 years. He came in with Wemby, right? So 3 years in the NBA. They both haven't been paid off of their rookie scale contract, or at least it hasn't kicked in. So they kind of just see it like, we don't really believe that a team built or with that core of Lonzo Ball and Miles Bridges can compete in the East, but we do like these other 2 younger players. So we're going to get some adults in the room, quite frankly, and some role players that can kind of just help them and hopefully, build on the prospects or the young talent we have.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome. Like Naz Reid, like the 3 players they got, Naz Reid, Grayson Allen, and Royce O'Neal, kind of to your point, they shoot the 3-ball at an extremely high clip. So you have those 3 players coming in along with Concanipple and Brandon Miller. Like this might be the best 3-point shooting team in the NBA.
Yeah, and you can't discount. I mean, I think they are lacking a little bit. Actually, not. I wouldn't even say a little bit. Like they're a very young team, and that's why I kind of like it about them. Like you said, I'm looking at their depth chart right now. Potential starting 5 as of this moment: Kobe White at point guard, Concanipple at shooting guard, Brandon Miller at small forward, Naz Reid at power forward, and then you have Hans Steinbach, who they just drafted, who they said was the best rebounder in the draft. I don't know if he can shoot a little bit. Assuming like this is me racially profiling him, but since he's white, I assume he can like somewhat shoot the ball. I could be wrong about that. But even then, you have Moussa Diabate, who kind of was a spark plug for them last season that launched them into the play-in game. Him coming off the bench, even potentially starting if Hans Steinbach doesn't really like is ready for a starting position right now. And then they drafted Christian Anderson. So him being your backup point guard, I really like that. Grayson Allen coming off the bench. They still have Sion James from Duke. And then they also add Royce O'Neal to that rotation. Like, this is a pretty good team. Like, yeah. They could make a run. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're like... I think the ceiling would probably be a 5 seed, and that's probably being generous. Probably 6 seed.
Yeah, they're like a 6-7 seed.
Yeah, a team that definitely can build off of this because, yeah, their 2 best players currently are still on the rookie scale contracts, and just a really nice fit. And yeah, I feel like the Hornets are trending up for the first time in a long time, if not their entire history as a franchise. So it just took getting rid of Michael Jordan, I guess.
Yeah. And honestly, Phoenix right now is kind of in no man's land. I get kind of why they're making this trade because they literally don't have any other players. So they're maybe taking a little bit of a gamble on Miles Bridges here. Gives him a little bit more of an extended role in Phoenix alongside Devin Booker to basically just score points. So I'm sure he wouldn't be upset with that and a scenery change. So, yeah, like I said, Phoenix is kind of in no man's land at the moment.
For sure. Moving on to like the next somewhat blockbuster. It was kind of, we were waiting for it, but Ja Morant, there's a parade inside my city, finally got moved, and he is headed to the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep. You know what they're going to be playing at the what do they call it? The Moda Center now? Isn't it even
the
Moda Center? Shot. Everybody. Either that or like, I got a Glock in my Rari. That's what they're going to be playing in Portland.
But the trade is Ja Morant going to Portland for Jeremy Grant's lovely contract and Chris Murray, the lesser Murray brother. Kind of underwhelming trade, but it wasn't a secret that Ja Morant was on the trade block for a long time, especially after they traded Triple J to the Jazz at the trade deadline. Just a kind of an underwhelming Grizzlies haul, but makes sense for all the facts I just stated right now. But what are your thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, I mean, Ja's trade value was super low, so that's probably as low as you could get, if not to rock bottom. And you could tell Memphis just kind of wanted to move away from him. Especially they get, I think the Grizzlies actually did pretty good in the draft. I mean, they got I almost said Carlos Boozer. I said Cam Boozer at the number 3 pick, and there's kind of debate around their other first round pick. They're shooting penalties right now, and that. Oh, actually, that's not penalty. They got a penalty.
Yeah, it's a penalty kick.
Yeah. I did not bet that game, and I'm glad I didn't. If anything, like I guess the over. Well, I was thinking about it. It was just kind of juiced, so I laid off of it. Anyway, Memphis kind of turning a new leaf with their somewhat young squad, but mainly they're going to try to build their team around Cam Boozer. And they also get Jeremy Grant with this trade as well. Just looking at their depth chart, Scottie Pippen Jr., potential starting point guard. I'm sure like all of these potential starters could change and probably will change, but Scottie Pippen Jr. at the 1, Cedric Coward at the 2, Jeremy Grant at the 3, Cam Boozer at the 4, and then Zach Edey at the 5 with their bench, Ty Jerome, which I think Ty Jerome is still a really good player. He's just kind of hurt. Jalen Wells, Santi Aldama, who's proven that he can kind of start a little bit for them, be that swing position at bit. You can go small ball with him, or you can go big. And then Isaiah Stewart, because they also they traded for Isaiah Stewart, I want to say. But then they still have like Gigi Jackson. They're probably gonna part ways with KCP. There's reports of that, him leaving.
Wait, did you say Isaiah Stewart would be the starting center?
No, Zach Edey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good old beef stew. Everyone loves beef stew. Yeah, I mean, Memphis is just clearly going through a rebuild, so they're trying to just like trade all their old players. It's crazy because they were saying like 4 or 5 years ago that the best up and coming team was this Grizzlies team with their core players of Ja, Desmond Bane, and Triple J, and then now it's totally blown up.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, like you said, 3 or 4 years ago when my Lakers went on a little run to the Western Conference Finals, only to be swept by the eventual champion Nikola Jokic Nuggets. But first round, 2 versus 7 seed, we were the 7 seed because I don't know why. But yeah, the Memphis Grizzlies were the 2 seed, and obviously people were going to pick the Lakers, but they were the 2 seed for a reason. And John Morant was probably one of the top 5 players, young players you build a team around. He had his issues with Instagram Live that kind of hurt his stock, and he's just a super athletic player who relies on his athleticism, and he started breaking down for his reckless, play style. And yeah, just all that stuff just combined to kind of just tank his draft stock. And it was a really interesting core of Dylan Brooks, John Morant, and Triple J. But
yeah, evil Danny Green.
Yeah, and he's proven to be a really good player. They kind of gave up on him after that series when he tried to punk LeBron and it didn't work. But yeah.
Yeah, I think this Memphis was such an interesting team. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I think it all went downhill whenever they fired their head coach, Taylor Jenkins. I actually really liked him as a coach. So I was very surprised when he got fired, and then that kind of all fell apart after that. But I guess moving to Portland, very interesting deal that they do. It's definitely a buy low spot on John Morant, which, hey, I don't blame him. And they also get rid of Jeremy Grant, who has a notoriously bad contract. And Chris Murray just kind of a salary fill-in, pretty sure. So buy low on John Morant. The big thing is, I mean, I know they're actively, I think, trading or trying to trade Drew Holiday, but they have like 4 point guards, 4 or 5 point guards. They have Scoot Henderson, Drew Holiday, John Morant, and Dame. It's funny because Dame isn't even on their depth chart, but because he was recovering last year from an Achilles injury. So
yeah, so what starting 5 do you think they're going to roll out there? Like, do you still give Dame the starting spot? I feel like you kind of have to, right?
I actually don't know. I would think they would put Drew, or Ja and Dame at the 1 and 2. I think that just sounds like a nightmare because you're gonna have like no defense from your backcourt, and then you have Kamara, Denny Adviak, who can kind of play 2 through 4, and then Donovan Clingan, and then they re-signed Robert Williams III, and they still have Shaden Sharp too. Like, I know Shaden can play your 2 or 3, but
yeah, just super guard heavy. I mean, we didn't even talk about Scoot Henderson and Drew Holiday. I know you mentioned Drew Holiday. Them looking to trade him, but what's that? 4 or 5 capable starters?
Yeah, so it's like I'd be surprised if they start the season with this roster. I would not be
I mean,
surprised.
after seeing the Jaylen Brown trade, you have to ask yourself, like, could Portland not get in on that action? Because I feel
Yeah,
like getting like I know you're buying low on John Morant, but maybe you just flip him somewhere else and then trade Kamara and Scoot Henderson and some picks. That probably would have got it done, in my opinion.
yeah, I think so
Based
too.
on Paul
Yeah,
George.
I'm surprised they didn't take a swing because, yeah. So I think Portland kind of messed up, like not trying to get in the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes.
I don't know. The question you could be asking yourself is maybe Boston thinks this is like 2018, 2019. Like LeBron's a free agent, Kawhi's on the Raptors. Not to spoil our next trade, but they think that Paul George is MVP Paul George from 7 years ago. But
Yeah,
I'm still just flabbergasted at
he
that
gets
trade.
traded for the entirety of the OKC Thunder team
Yeah.
that won the championship. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the Blazers are doing. Belgium just won. Insane. Well, yeah, hopefully y'all had the over. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we talk about World Cup. Yeah, I honestly, I'm not upset with Portland taking a swing like this. I'm surprised, and like I said, free agency and trade aren't over yet, but I'm surprised. Yeah, they haven't made any moves yet, and yeah, if this is what they're starting with at the beginning of the season, I think it's a big failure because it's like you just have way too many guards.
I agree.
Yeah, because essentially they're supposed to be building around Denny, Advia, and Donovan Clingan. So, yeah, there's not really much else to say. All right, next trade: Kawhi Leonard,
Mr. Fun Guy himself.
Dude, I got to get that sound on my soundboard. But he gets traded back to Toronto. And it was interesting because I want to say he actually personally was interested in going back to Toronto, not just the Clippers sending him to Toronto. A guy born and raised in California, always when he was in San Antonio, he wanted to go back to LA. When he was Toronto, he wanted to go back to LA. Then he finally went back to LA and realized, even though LA, the weather might be great, the grass isn't greener basketball wise in Cali. So very surprised that, I mean, I guess he wants to win. So, and the Clippers are definitely not in winning position with their current roster. So Clippers deal him to the Toronto Raptors for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, 1 pick swap, and 2 second-rounders. And bear in mind,
that's quite the jersey edit they got on him.
Yeah. Kawhi Leonard just turned 35, I believe, yesterday or the day before, whenever this trade happened. But it makes Toronto, the Raptors team, very interesting because they were basically able to retain all of their young talent. Didn't have to trade Scotty Barnes, nor would you want to trade Scotty Barnes. Oh, interesting. We just have a trade coming in right now. We'll talk about it. And it involves my Dallas Mavericks. They get to retain Scotty Barnes. They retain Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, Maple Mamba himself. And yeah, they add a capable, one of his best years of his entire career, Kawhi Leonard. So the East is just getting better and better, and it's crazy. Like, I think officially the East is better than the West, definitely. But let me pull up both their depth charts. But I think it's a little much for Kawhi. But if it ends up like, in the championship like they did last time, like it'll make it worth it. So in hindsight, I initially said, "Oh, I think the Clippers won this trade." I think it's kind of mutual, like both teams won, in my opinion. Because Brandon Ingram, honestly, and Spencer was telling me, and it makes sense. I agree. The Clippers are in no way or fashion should be trying to lose because they don't own their own picks, which that makes sense. But at the same time, I find it hard that the Clippers keep Brandon Ingram. I would not be surprised if they try to flip Brandon Ingram because, I mean, maybe they'll keep him on the roster, but they're trying to build around kind of more of their young core at the moment. And I mean, Brandon Ingram's not old per se. He's like, 28, 29. But I'd say he's a solid player. He's nothing extremely – he'll average 20 a night for you. But I wouldn't say he's necessarily a winning player per se. I'm a little bit more intrigued about Grady Dick. You got to, pair him up with I do know Kobe Brown re-signed with the Clippers, so they could do that duo again. Too bad Anthony Black isn't on the team. But he had a kind of breakout season for them. This past year he's kind of hurt majority of the season. But the year before, and even a little bit this year, he kind of broke out a little bit. And he seems like a very intriguing prospect. He's like, 6'7", 6'8". Can kind of play the 3 or the 4 position. Sneaky athleticism. I'm kind of intrigued a little bit by him. You never know what he could possibly turn out to be. And then, of course, the picks along with it. So I think of it kind of a win-win situation for both teams, looking back at it, hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a loss for the Clippers because the whole Kawhi Leonard, Paul George duo has long expired. I mean, Paul George has been off the team for a while.
Don't forget James Harden too.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to, once again, it seems like we're in 2019 with all the stuff going on, but when they linked up after Kawhi won his championship, I see the Clippers kind of just keeping Brandon Ingram because, I mean, like we just saw with Jaylen Brown, the trade market can be volatile because, I mean, you see what Jaylen Brown fetched, and then not to spoil it, but we saw what my Lakers did because they needed a big man. So there's no true value indicator on okay, Jaylen Brown's worth X and Y, and Brandon Ingram's just worth X. Just depends on your situation and your negotiating power. And the Raptors see an opportunity. Yeah, the Knicks won the championship. Kudos to them, but they're not the Golden State Warriors 2017, 2018. They are beatable. So if you have a chance to try to win the East, and Kawhi Leonard last season, in my opinion, had a career season, both in games played and just statistically. I know you mentioned he just turned 35, but he's probably got at least, 1 or 2 really good years left. And that starting 5 of Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes, and depending if you want to start Colin Murray-Boyles or –
I assume they'll start. Jakob, he's a proven starter. I think you start Jakob Poeltl, but he's not going to be the guy that ends the game for you.
For sure. So, yeah, I mean, Jakob is just bigger, and it would kind of be redundant to have all 3 of them playing at the same time, at least to start the game. But I really like it for the Raptors and the Clippers. I think they keep Brandon Ingram just because I've seen him on my Lakers, on New Orleans, even on Toronto. He's not a super alpha dog player. He's willing to just kind of fit in where he needs to fit in. So I think in terms of developing Keaton Wagler and continuing to develop Benedict Mathurin and Darius Garland, there'll be no issues. And they'll just be a competitive team, probably between probably 9 and 11 seed, in my opinion. Ty Lue is a good coach, so maybe he coaches them up and they make the play-in, but they're kind of just in a position where they tried the big swing and they missed, and Now they kind of just got to wait until they get lucky in this new lottery format.
Yeah, I mean, the Toronto lineup, I like it. And then you're off the bench. You know, they were they lost to the Cavs. You know, that they pushed the Cavs to 7 games, which is super impressive. Definitely a way ahead of their timeline, and they have just a lot of really good young players. And adding a guy like Kawhi to that, with essentially just giving up one starter and Grady Dick, he was kind of like a perennial rotational player for you. Like, great job. And yeah, I like the guys that are coming off the bench. They're young, they're hungry, they have a ton of energy. Jamal Shed from University of Houston, as well as Jacoby Walter from Baylor, Alan Graves, who just got drafted by the Raptors from Santa Clara. And yeah, you got kind of their MVP of the series, Colin Murray Boyles. So it'll be, very interesting. I like this Toronto Raptors lineup. Unfortunately, they're in the East, which I mentioned is the better conference now. But yeah, I think they'll definitely make the playoffs. I could potentially, on the high side, they could be like a 3 or 4 seed. But yeah, and even looking at this Clippers lineup, like, they don't necessarily have any stars, but it's not a terrible lineup. I would be surprised if they finish like they could potentially make the plan with this roster. Darius Garland at the 1, Keaton Wagler at the 2, Brandon Ingram at the 3 now. You still have Derrick Jones Jr., who I'm a big fan of, at the 4. He's kind of like replaceable at that. He can play that swing position. Brook Lopez, they're kind of interesting at the center position. Brook Lopez, he's super old. I wouldn't be surprised if they potentially trade him. I think he has 1 year left on his deal, so I wouldn't be surprised to trade him to a more contending team. And you got Chris Dunn coming off the bench. I really like Benedict Mathurin. Isaiah Jackson's a good energy guy off the bench, and then like I said, you have Grady Dick coming off the bench. I'm sorry, it wasn't Kobe Brown. It was Kobe Sanders. They used to have Kobe Brown. I don't think he's on the Clippers anymore, so that's very unfortunate. But yeah, this Clippers team, don't be surprised if they try to make a run for the play-in. But yeah, I think mutually a good trade for both teams.
For sure.
All right, before we get to the Giannis trade, breaking news: we have a new trade, and it involves my Dallas Mavericks, and I actually kind of like it. Memphis Grizzlies are trading Santi Aldama, who were briefly just talking about the Grizzlies, to the Mavericks for AJ Johnson, a protected 2030 Warriors first-round pick, and 2 future second-round picks. He's a versatile forward. He can play the 4 or the 5, especially if you go small ball 5. I don't know how much he's making. That would be my only concern for Dallas. I do know, I believe he did a new contract with the Grizzlies. Okay, so it looks like I like this. The Warriors pick is 2030 is protected 1 to 20. Then turns into a second if not conveyed. So, I mean, depending on what the Warriors do, that could potentially not be like a very good pick. I don't know who Tariq Biborovic is, so I would assume that's just like kind of negligible. No offense to that guy, but yeah, basically negligible. I like that trade for Dallas. Let me pull up Dallas's depth chart. It gives them a veteran, which Dallas is my sneaky pick to potentially make the play in the playoffs, especially since all these players are leaving the West, going to the East. The East is the tougher conference now. The door's kind of open for a team like Dallas, who was projected to make the playoffs last year before AD got hurt and they just like kind of sold on the season. But looking at the Mavs depth chart now, potential starting 5 is still the same. Kyrie, Max Christie, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, Derek Lively. You got a good backup point guard in RJ Nembhard off the bench. You still have Klay Thompson. You have Mo Johnson. You have Daniel Gafford. And then you add Santi Aldama. So this kind of confirms that they definitely will most likely trade Daniel Gafford and or PJ Washington. You just have too many like big men and / forwards, especially with Mo Johnson and Santi Aldama being just traded for. So, and then this is just kind of a selling point for Memphis, them just trying to acquire draft capital at this point, offloading on contracts on players. But yeah, I like the trade. You know, AJ Johnson, he was kind of an interesting young player, but probably wasn't going to really be in the Mavs rotation moving forward. And then you kind of give up a probably not worth much pick for an impact now player. So I like that trade for Dallas. All right. Any thoughts before we move on to the Giannis trade?
No, like I've seen Aldama play. He's a solid player. The Mavs are kind of in similar to the Hornets, but probably even earlier in that process. Like Cooper Flagg just won Rookie of the Year. They still have Kyrie, but timelines. Kyrie will probably stay on the team, I think, just to help Cooper continue to develop, but he's probably not part of the long-term plans with Cooper Flagg. And Santi Aldama is what? How old?
I want to say probably like 27 or 28. Let me look that up.
25.
25, dude. I'll take it. I do think his contract isn't great though.
Dang, he's really 7 feet. I thought he was like 6 something.
Yeah, he signed a 3-year, $52.5 million. That's actually not bad. Not bad.
That's a solid deal in today's NBA.
For a guy that's 7 foot and can. I have to look at his shooting splits, but I'm pretty sure he can shoot 3. This is your stretch 5 right there. Little, probably a little bit better than Mike Muscala.
Yeah, I was just a little distracted because I'm still processing that Jaylen Brown blockbuster, and I went on NBA Reddit and Celtics Reddit, and
yeah, but, like roasting.
Yeah,
as he should. Yeah, as he should, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a terrible trade by the Celtics, in my opinion. So
I don't know. I mean, like, do you want to go over it again? I know it wasn't an official Boys Red Ball episode.
We kind of did an impromptu live stream about it. I guess we could talk about just like I'm trying to think. Have the Heat signed anyone since then? Let me look. I have the transfer.
They've only let Norman Powell go.
Yeah, which I'm kind of surprised by that, but probably don't want to pay him the money because he was set to get paid. Didn't Norman Powell? He just signed with someone, didn't he?
Yeah, we'll cover that one.
The Magic, right?
But yeah, I mean, like we talked about on our draft live stream, kind of just the Heat have to make the swing. Like they haven't really been a contender since Jimmy Butler would drag them to the finals once in the bubble, then once against the Nuggets as an 8 seed. But yeah, I mean, Tyler Hero, starter, Khalil Ware could be a starter or not. Jaime Jaquez was in the running for 6th Man of the Year. Jakob Jonas, if that's pronouncing it right. Up-and-coming player and a bunch of picks. But yeah, so Milwaukee's not contending. They also don't own their future, so there's no incentive for them to tank. But their starting 5 is pretty underwhelming. I think I saw a graphic that showed them, and they basically said, "You got to be kidding me! My starting 5 is like all Love Island contestants."
Yeah, I agree. Just pulling up their starting 5 right now. I mean, it's not terrible, but like I don't think it's top 5 in the East. And like we'll keep saying it, like the East is the conference to beat, in my opinion, right now. It's the best conference. So like you bring out a lineup like that. I know you got Bam and you got Giannis, but like you have no bench. You traded all like your young players and bench pieces for Giannis. I know it's Eric Spoelstra, and he's kind of been known as that coach who can kind of get the best out of everyone. And then they end up going to other teams, Gabe Davis, Kendrick Nunn, and actually be terrible players in reality. But, Eric Spoelstra knows how to make the most out of his crappy players. But yeah, like I would say fit 5 seed right now, if looking at the roster. I don't know. Am I being harsh or factual?
For whom?
I mean, they did just sign Tim Hardaway Jr., which I was talking about that in the impromptu Giannis live stream. Tim Hardaway Jr. is free agent. His dad played for the Heat, probably in the Heat Hall of Fame. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised they need a guy who can shoot the ball. So he's their projected starting 2. Andrew Wiggins, you kind of know what you're going to get from him. And then you have Giannis, Bam, and then Davion Mitchell as your starting point guard. But other than that, you have no one on the bench except Bobby Portis, who's he serviceable, like big man off the bench. But you got Pell Larson, Ryan Conwell, who they just drafted, Drew Smith. Yeah, they have no one on that. Oh, can't forget, they got Fontecchio. He re-signed for 1 year. Who I wouldn't say he's a reliable guy, but he can shoot the ball a little bit.
Yeah, left to be seen. I mean, how would you rank, especially with this Jaylen Brown bomb, top 4 teams in the East? Maybe top 5, just to make it that even 5.
Top 4,
I can go first.
Top 5.
Go first.
Yeah, you can go ahead and go first.
I would probably go, Knicks, just because they're defending champs. They lose 1 or 2 players who we'll talk about later on the stream, but Knicks number 1, number 2. I always say Philly.
Yeah, I'd probably say that too.
3. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any teams. I'd say 3 Raptors. I might stand corrected, but yeah, 3 Raptors, 4 Cavs, and 5.
You forget the Pistons? Pistons?
Oh yeah, Pistons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of good teams in the East.
Maybe you told me a couple weeks ago, before Kawhi got traded, before Jaylen Brown just got traded. I'm coming around to the East is the better conference now, because
I think it's like it's set in stone now. Like I don't think you could argue the West is the better conference.
Okay, let me go back.
Especially because
Detroit, they got somebody, right? Yeah, they got John Collins. Not to spoil our major moves, but John Collins. That's kind of it. They lost Tobias Harris to the Spurs once again. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Knicks, Philly, Detroit, Toronto, Cavs. Or Cavs, Toronto. Cavs, Toronto. So Toronto's the 5. My 5.
All right. I think it's very similar. I do have the Knicks number 1 because they're the defending champion. They're bringing back pretty much everyone except for Mitchell Robinson. We'll talk about that. He just signed to the Celtics, actually. Did you know that?
He's with Boston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't include Boston there, but
yeah. I think it's New York number 1, Philly number 2. I just have to put Detroit there at number 3, just because they won granted, it's a lot tougher East Conference now, but I think Detroit has kind of proven themselves. Maybe not so much in the postseason, but in the regular season at least. So I can't disrespect Detroit and put them like 5. So I would put.
So far, our top 3 is the same.
Wait, you didn't put Detroit 3, did you? Or did you?
Yeah, I did.
You like put them back into okay.
Yeah, because I forgot about Detroit.
Yeah. Okay. So Knicks number 1, Sixers number 2, Pistons number 3, Raptors number 4. I have to put the Cavs there. Yeah, Miami's not a top 5 team right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I went your top 5 first, but then I don't know. It's still concerning, and you never know with Kawhi. I put the Cavs still 4, but basically the same.
Okay, that's fair. I think they're pretty close, in my opinion.
But it's also like, are we really discounting the Celtics that bad? Like, even without Jason Tatum the whole year, they won 56 games. Like, yeah, and we're not even including the new Giannis Miami Heat. Like,
oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot about the Celtics. But the thing is like JB was such a big part of their team, and the fact that they literally traded him for Paul George, like yeah.
No, when I first was named in the top 5, I wanted to put Atlanta in there, but they didn't go out and get like another star player next to Jalen Johnson. I know their whole core can continue to rise, but the NBA is about star power, and they kind of lack it.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly put Boston at 6 right now, as far as like how the roster is, because Jaylen Brown, like he carried them throughout the regular season.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll think about it, and maybe we'll make a little graphic to just say like the new power rankings in the East. But yeah, the East is an absolute gauntlet in terms of just. I think as a whole, like their top 5, top 6 is a lot better than maybe the West top 5 or top 6. But the West top 2, which is Oklahoma City and San Antonio, are like the best teams in the league.
I just got a per sham. The Celtics originally asked for VJ Edgecombe along with Paul George in the trade, of course. And they they pooped their pants. And were like, oh, okay, we'll just take Paul George then.
Yeah, I'm still just processing that, but all right, let's maybe pick up the pace because I don't want to be here for 2 hours. But yeah, so
major moves like you put here. Mitchell Robinson to the Celtics. I think that's huge for them. They needed a center. I don't think he's necessarily like your long-term solution type guy. You really miss guys like Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis that can stretch the floor for you, because let's be honest, Mitchell Robinson on the offensive end, unless like besides offensive rebounds, is essentially like a non-factor on offense, in my opinion. But defensively, he helps out a ton. I believe they still have Kada, and they just drafted Chris Sinek, which I think was a good pickup for them as well. So the Celtics get him. Norman Powell to the Bulls. He's just basically getting paid. The Bulls are pretty poverty franchise, in my opinion. So doesn't really move the needle on anything. John Collins to the Pistons. That's a really interesting move just because they get rid of Tobias Harris, sign John Collins. Do you know what his contract was?
I have it up right now. I think it was like 3 years, 50 something. Yeah, 3 years, 51.
Okay, so probably like slightly less than what Tobias was making. Actually, probably a lot
17,
less.
17 million a year.
Yeah, a lot less. Tobias was making like what, 30 million a year, right? He was making a ton.
I don't think with Detroit he was making that much money. I think he signed a smaller deal. But yeah, John Collins, solid player.
Because he got traded, he didn't sign with Detroit, I'm pretty sure. Let me look that up. You can continue with the list.
And then the Lakers free agency started yesterday, and it was a pretty lackluster day. If anything, we lost out on two of our rotational players, at least in the playoffs. Luke Kennard going to the Phoenix Suns for 2 years, $13 million. And I think Marcus Smart almost had the same contract, but going to Houston, 2 years, $13 million. There were reports that we weren't going to retain him because he wanted a 3-year deal, and he ended up not getting that from Houston, but kind of reunites with Ime Udoka, who he played under in Boston. So definitely hurt, and Laker fans were somewhat panicking, especially because, what was it, yesterday? Our sweet king, LeBron Ramon James, has announced that he will be playing basketball elsewhere. So those are 3 players that went out the door. There are reports about Rui Hachimura possibly are leaving, but San Antonio, we didn't cover that, but San Antonio acquired Tobias Harris on, I think, like a 2-year deal.
Yeah, 2 years, $30.8 million. So it's roughly getting like paid 15 a year.
Yeah, so I don't know if they have the cap space to sign Rui Hachimura at the number he wants, and I honestly don't really know the Lakers' cap situation, because today we were super busy. The biggest move is we bit the bullet and gave up, essentially, in my opinion, our entire future for Walker Kessler, 25-year-old center from Utah, completing the Rudy Gobert trade, which is one of the biggest fleeces in NBA history. I mean, hasn't really materialized anything, but just in terms of pure assets, pretty crazy. But Walker Kessler is coming over to the Lakers in a sign-in trade, but we're essentially just sending 2 unprotected first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. Don't really know the dates, but I think the unprotected picks are 2031 and 2033, with the swaps kind of in between there. We're signing him to, get this, Mike, 4 years, $130 million. 32 and
a half a year. So the picks are unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, and first-round swaps in 28 and 30. So that's the draft capital.
Yeah, so Ainge is at it again. He kind of had us over a barrel, because I think the Pistons were probably going to match anything Duren got. The Jazz are kind of more in an interesting position where if they didn't let go of Walker Kessler or trade him in some fashion, they'd kind of have like 6 starters and only 5 spots. Keontae, Ace Bailey, Darren Peterson, their new rookie, Lauri Markkanen, Triple J, and now Kessler. So getting rid of Kessler kind of solves that issue. And they also have a couple other big men off the bench in Yusuf Nurkic and Kyle Filipowski. So definitely a blow for them. He missed, I think, the entire season or close to it. And those are concerns for me as a Laker fan. I think he's averaged 40 or 50 games over the last 4 seasons. Probably his whole career is only 4 seasons, but that was the biggest trade. But then after that, it kind of just seemed like it was a snowball effect, because we went out and got, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but Sando
Mamushvili,
who is kind of a backup big in Toronto. Saw him a little bit in the Cavs series, and interesting player, but what did we pay for him?
It was 2 years. Oh no, 3 years. It was a 3-year deal, $52 million, I want to say.
Yeah, so $14 million.
4 year, 52.
Yeah, so $13 million a year.
Not bad. Backups, forward/center.
Yeah, it kind of just seems like it's the going rate for centers now that centers are back. But it just kept going from there. We went out and signed Quentin Grimes, 4 years, $60 million from the Philadelphia 76ers. Kind of like a 2 2-3 guard who can help us shoot the ball and kind of just play defense. Kind of a 3-and-D player, essentially, which is desperately needed on the Luka Doncic team. We have him up right here. And the last free agency signing, Colin Sexton, 2 years, $19 million. A solid player. I thought he was a lot shorter, but he's listed at 6'3", and he actually shot the ball extremely well after going to Chicago. So hopefully he's able to, once similarly to Quentin Grimes, just provide us with that 3-and-D. But yeah, as the tweet says, in 30 minutes we committed $260 million in free agency, not including Austin Reeves' contract, which is what, 185 just by itself. So I have my bias, but I'll let you talk. What do you think about the Lakers' moves today?
I mean, yeah, they had to get Walker Kessler to make Luka happy. That's like the main thing. If I'm whoever Walker Kessler's agent is, man, like this is him right now.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
That's Walker Kessler and his agent right now, because man, did they cash in? And the Jazz just took advantage, unfortunately, of a desperate Lakers team, kind of like how this Philly took advantage of a desperate Boston team with that Jaylen Brown trade. But the Lakers had to do something. So, I mean, I'd say it's worse that if they didn't sign him and someone else got him than them actually signing him, in my opinion. Walker Kessler, there are a lot of his concerns. 30-something million is tough to swallow, especially with all the draft capital that you guys had to give up. Yeah, like it's one thing to sign him to that kind of contract. It's another thing to have to give up that draft capital. But it is what it is. They had to do it. Not at a great price. Mamu is pretty decent. 4 years is kind of a long time, in my opinion, to sign him. Maybe they're kind of hoping, hey, we can sign him on a long deal, and he plays really well, and this contract actually ends up being super undervalued or undervalued. Yeah, that's the right word. Colin Sexton, he's a good energy guy. Not like $9 million. It's kind of maybe the going rate for kind of like a guy coming off the bench, combo guard. He can play the 1 or the 2. It's more of he can play a little, yeah. He can kind of do it all from the guard position. He can defend as well. Quentin Grimes, I really love Quentin Grimes. I was sad the Mavericks freaking traded him for Caleb Martin, and I'm pretty sure we had to give up a 2nd round pick too to get Caleb Martin. So I got fleeced by the who was it? Philly, yeah, fleeced by Philly on that trade. Wish we had Quentin Grimes back, re-signed him. 4 years, $60 million. I get it. He's probably going to be your 6th man off the bench. It's not the most favorable type of deal. 4 years, $60 million is how much? 12, 13?
For $15 million, 4 years, 60.
Yeah, it's not the worst, but like I said, he's probably going to be your 6th man off the bench. Yeah, so it's not ideal. I told Spencer, I'm like, the Lakers got to do what they got to do to try to get back Rui. After making all these moves, I don't know if that's – I mean, it still could be possible. I don't know what the cap situation is looking like for the Lakers. But it was interesting that San Antonio ended up signing Tobias Harris instead of Rui Hachimura, because I'm pretty sure Rui Hachimura was almost like a done deal to go to San Antonio. But it seems like San Antonio didn't want to do most likely a long-term deal, commit more money to a guy like Rui, which I think they probably should have. He's younger. I think he's better, a lot better than Tobias Harris. So, yeah, I was surprised by that. But I'm assuming Rui wants probably a 3 to 4 year deal and probably get paid around 20 to 25 a year, I would assume.
Yeah, I think probably around the low 20s, left to be seen, and hopefully we're able to bring him back, especially with the Spurs, who seem like the most likely candidate to sign him, signing Tobias Harris.
But I don't see them signing him since they signed Tobias.
Yeah, so
Why
I'm
would-
hoping that we're able to still have his bird rights, still can squeeze him in because I think, is the leading 3-point percentage shooter in the playoffs all time. I mean, it's not exactly a small sample size. He's been in a lot of playoff games. Not LeBron James status, but yeah, I think 55% around there from three.
Mm-hmm.
So playoff tested, and yeah, I'd love to see him back. But yeah, I mean, going out and getting 4 solid players, one of them probably being a starter in Walker Kessler, it's definitely interesting. And the NBA is just headed towards more depth, and hopefully these players can produce.
Yeah, and then you don't have Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes signed with, I forget who, but he signed with a different team.
Really?
Yeah, I forget who. I can look it up. Jackson Hayes.
Jazz.
Yeah, the Jazz.
Oh,
They essentially
man.
just downgraded a little bit for a way less, lower price.
Dang. Hate to see him go, but he got paid $6 million a year.
Hey, I'd pay $6 million a year for Jackson Hayes.
I would too.
Yeah, but you just didn't need him anymore with the. It'll be interesting to see. I guess you just keep Ayton. What he opted into is $8 or $9 million a year contract. But yeah, I mean, things don't necessarily look like it could be worse for the Lakers, but you really want to re-sign Hachimura. I think that'd be the last thing they most likely do is to re-sign Hachimura, because right now projected starting 5: Luka, Reeves, Laravia, which I mean, I low-key think you could probably put in Quentin Grimes over Laravia, in my opinion. And then Jared Vanderbilt at the 4 and Walker Kessler at the 5. So you definitely want a better starting 4 than.
They talked about Mambo starting.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know how well he plays that 4 position as far as from a defensive perspective. I think he's more of a traditional big man when it comes to that. So
Yeah, you just reading me that starting 5. I know we really only lost LeBron, but it just seems a lot worse.
no, but I will say if you re-sign Rui, that's actually a pretty decent team. Is it great? No, but yeah, losing.
Yeah,
LeBron
we kind of need Rui because that 3-4 starting 5 spot's a little shaky.
Yeah, but like I said, I would be surprised if they start Jake LaRavia over Quentin Grimes, because Quentin Grimes, he's not necessarily big. He usually plays the 2 spot, but I think he could play the 3. He's 6'5". So yeah, if you don't re-sign Rui, it might be a little bit troubling. All right, let's move along. The U.S. game is going to start in 30 minutes. Let's see. Is there anything else free agency wise we kind of covered everything. I guess
I was going to ask
prediction
you about
off-season.
Jaylen Brown, but that happened right at the start of the show.
we already talked about that.
Where do you think LeBron's going to go? Apparently, it's down to 28 teams now because the Spurs are no longer interested in pursuing him.
I would probably say Cleveland or Miami. Because
Not Golden State.
I mean, sure, yeah, throw in Golden State in there. Sure,
I think Golden
odds-wise,
State's the
it's probably-
favorite.
Yeah, I think odds-wise, it's Golden State, which makes sense because they have the cap to be able to do it. Even though LeBron says he's willing to take the vet minimum, which is $3 million. So he's literally putting his money where his mouth is. So that kind of leads me to be I think Cleveland would be a bigger favorite if that's truly the case, where money isn't an issue and he's willing to take that vet minimum. Because I don't know. I think he made it pretty clear he wouldn't go to Golden State unless AD comes, and that's not going to happen. I think Cleveland or Miami, in my personal opinion. This is just like me thinking. Like Miami needs someone. He goes back to South Beach. Like Golden State seems interesting, but yeah, I think for him to like actually contend, it would more so be Cleveland or Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I first thought similar to you, and I think everyone did, that this Warriors were going to get the Expendables together and play with AD, Draymond, Steph, LeBron. But it seems like AD is not going to go.
Cleveland, yeah, Cleveland 34% right now. Golden State dropped. It was at 47% at one point. Now it's at 39%. So Golden State 39%, Cleveland 34%, Miami 14% on Cal.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I think he goes home. You know, his third and last time, and we'll see. Yeah, I think he'll probably have to take the minimum unless the Cavs do some finagling around. But then the Cavs, we gotta reorder our top 5 in the East.
Oh yeah, that definitely changes the Cavs. I would put the Cavs top 3.
I probably put them top 2, not 2.
Interesting, really.
I mean, we both agree.
I mean, they do. They would kind of have it all.
LeBron's a top 25 player still.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's like maybe they just like hoe James Harden and be like, sorry, bro, we don't actually need you. Either let James Harden come. Like, it would be interesting to see Harden and LeBron on the same team.
Yeah, a starting 5 of Harden, Mitchell, LeBron, Mobley, and Allen.
Oh, dude, that is crazy. Not gonna lie. And you still have your like capable bench pieces. Sure, they lost Dean Wade, but Philly kind of paid him a little bit of a bag. But you still have like Jalen Tyson coming off the bench, Keon Ellis. Who else? Like they never had Schroeder, did they? Like
Keon Ellis left.
Yeah,
but they have Strus still.
I'm curious. Yeah, Strus. Honestly, Mavs trading for Strus wouldn't be opposed to that as long as we're not giving up too much. They wouldn't trade for Clay. That'd be the only thing. I'd only want to trade him like Clay or something. But that's probably not going to happen. I want to look at their depth chart. No, not going to lie. Yeah, starting 5 right now: Harden, Mitchell, Strus, Mobley, Allen. Yeah, you maybe you add LeBron, so LeBron takes Strus's spot. Harden, Mitchell, LeBron, Evan, or Mobley, Allen as your freak, dude. That's a huge starting lineup. And then off the bench, you would have like Schroeder, Strus. This is assuming they retain everyone. They might have to make a trade. Sam Merrill, Jalen Tyson. Yeah, maybe their bench is kind of lacking a little bit, but even then, like, yeah, dude, you could have Harden kind of running those like bench minutes a little. You could have either like any 3 of them running that second unit. Like, obviously, LeBron's going to start, and he's going to play in the fourth quarter, but yeah, that would be wild.
That's what I'm saying.
I will say he definitely has a better chance of competing for a title if he goes to Cleveland than Miami. Miami, he would get more money, but he clearly kind of said that money isn't a factor.
Yeah. So, all right, like you said, we're 22 minutes out. I probably got to cook something before the game. So
yeah, it's like I don't think we're gonna even talk World Cup. We'll probably have to talk World Cup next week or something.
Yeah, I mean we'll just gloss over it. Like group stage is over. We made some guesses. They weren't really educated guesses. They were more rapid fire. We started the round of 32 on Sunday. there are, I guess, 4 games that stood out to me. You want to take the first game because it kind of hits close.
Yeah, yeah. Brazil, Japan. I like Brazil is obviously the better team. Japan having their 4 top players on their team out due to injury. Even then, still finishing second in their group, just to the Netherlands based off of goal differential. They played them extremely well. Just Brazil at the end of the day, they're just the better team. Japan was kind of playing it a little bit safe at the end. And you clearly can see throughout this tournament, like the team that goes and like tries to win the game rather than not to lose, like ends up winning the match. So yeah, it was really sad because it was literally in the 95th minute, I want to say, of 96 or 6 added stoppage time minutes. So literally the last minute of the game, they go up 2-1 after Japan took a 1-0 lead. So unfortunate, but Brazil now gets to play Morocco, right? Wait, no, not Morocco. Shoot, who do they play? I forget.
I have it up. Norway.
Holland. That'll be a great game. Loki, I kind of want to put a little money on my guy Holland. Oh, I need to get that sound too. Holland. That guy's so funny. I love him. But yeah, that's what happened in the Brazil game. Paraguay beating Germany on penalty kicks was insane. And this is all one day. And then Morocco beating the Netherlands in penalty kicks as well. I needed both teams to score in that game. Morocco's goal came late, like the 88th minute, I want to say. Loved it. Penalty kicks, I got to watch stress-free, sweat-free. That was a great game. And then I don't know if you want to highlight like any of those games, if you had like some big bets on those or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Kane, I guess they call him Captain Kane.
Well, we talked about the Mexico game before Kane. All right, I'll talk Mexico game. So I put 5 units on Mexico because I'm like, it's Mexico. They're in Mexico City. Like, this is like a lock for Mexico to win. And they proved me right. They annihilated their matchup against Ecuador, which Ecuador looked very shaky. Kind of their whole tournament, I'm surprised, being third in their group stage, was able to get in. But Mexico just dominating, and you're going to get a great matchup, Mexico versus England, which Spencer can talk about the England game. We both made money on the England game.
Yeah. What was it? In the first 10 minutes of the game, Democratic Republic of Congo score a goal, hold England scoreless in the first half, and people in the stadium are starting to groan, and they're worried. They're talking about the cup's coming home, and England hasn't shown up in this game. And then wasn't their last game there? It was 0-0 too until like the 67th minute, and they put in 2 goals. But yeah, definitely come out of the last 2 games super slow. But Harry Kane, Captain Kane, comes through clutch with a header off of a corner kick or just a crossing ball, ties it up, and then 10 minutes later, he just dribbles, jukes out the dude, top right-hand corner, with the brace, and England moves on to play Mexico in Azteca Sunday night. That Sunday is going to be quite a day for World Cup soccer.
That is going to be an insane game. I would probably roll with Mexico on that one. England has great. I don't know. This is just 2 really great teams. So I think you'd definitely have to give the edge to Mexico playing in Mexico City. But and then we just saw the Belgian game, them being down 0-2 to Senegal, and they come back in the 80th minute. They score their first goal, and then they immediately score another goal.
It's too close. It's too early for me to talk about.
Yeah,
that one.
Spencer lost on that one, unfortunately. I didn't have any money. If anything, I was going to play both teams to score, but I played it.
I didn't play it early enough, and it just got super juiced. So I'm like, I'm just not going to play it. I'm not going to have both teams to score with like minus 150. Like, no, thank you. Yeah, Belgium comes back. Belgium has been looking very shaky. I'm surprised they were able to make that comeback, and they play the winner of the U.S. Bosnia game happening in 15 minutes.
Yeah, so that probably wraps it up because
Do we play? I'm torn on what I should play for this U.S. game. I kind of want to play U.S. minus 1.5. At the same time, I could see this being just like a one goal win for the U.S.
Yeah, I was looking on my phone right now, and I like combo,
Or
but
should both teams to score.
correlated combo. Bosnia plus 2.5, under 3.5 total goals.
That's the thing. I was low-key maybe thinking about betting the over too, because the only way I get screwed in realistic fashion is probably if US has a clean sheet and then it's just like a 2-0. I don't know, dude. This is a hard one. Obviously, I have to bet US in some capacity.
I think I'm going to play that. So do with that as you
What
will.
US wins and under 3.5?
Bosnia plus 2.5.
Oh,
If they win 3-0 or 4-1.
yeah, I doubt it gets that much.
I think Bosnia can score, but I'm not confident.
But I also think like the US mantra is to try to score. Like, I'm not saying they're going to pile it on per se, but like they're definitely attack first mindset.
Yeah, my concern is just that Bosnia let Switzerland score 3 goals. But that was just, they held them, I think, 1-1 or 2-1, then the Avalanche just came. Like,
part of me just wants to maybe just play the over. Like, that way, if like.
Yeah, nobody scored. I remember this one. Nobody scored till the 74th minute. Switzerland scores 1-0. Then Bosnia comes, or no, they don't. Bosnia gets a red card. So that's what happens. In the 80th minute, Switzerland scores.
I had the under in that game, and oh, what the heck? The over is super juiced. It's like minus 144.
What I said?
No, for this game. Oh, what the heck? Like, everyone, dude, betting splits have gone way in favor of the US. Like, the minus 1.5 was plus 120 like a couple hours ago. Now it's plus 105.
Wait, the minus. You said what?
US minus 1.5 was plus 120 like 4 hours ago. Now it's plus 105.
Yeah, people want to.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, oh, and then everyone's betting the over because everyone wants to see goals. So the like Joe Schmo will bet the over because they want to see a lot of goals. Both teams to score though, minus 104. Is that the play? But then,
yeah. All right. Well, I got to sit down and think about this, so we should just end the stream. But been a wild NBA offseason, World Cup. As much as I hate it and it's whacked me, it's been an interesting World Cup. Wimbledon's going on. That's kind of just my thing. Mike isn't really tapped in to tennis completely yet. That might change come September. But yeah, that's all I got for the pod this week.
Yeah. Do I play like US advances and then both teams to score? This is tough. All right. Yeah. We'll end it right there. Go USA. Yeah. I don't know what we should play. So I'll get on the phone with you, Spencer, after. All right. See y'all later. Peace. Go US.